Last year, DJI Global shocked the filmmaking world with a groundbreaking cinema camera called the 4D, which combined a camera and a gimbal in one. But in this video, I'm going to tell you why I think it's a gimmick and give you 4 reasons why I think it's going to fail. Hello everyone, my name is Tony and welcome to A Tale of Two Cameras, where I make videos about photography and filmmaking, and here are my top 4 reasons why I think the DJI 4D will be a failure of a product. Reason number 1, it doesn't solve a problem. Good products solve a problem, and with how easy to use and inexpensive modern day gimbals are, I've never been on set shooting a film or an ad and thought, I really wish I had a gimbal built into my camera. Not only does this product not solve a problem for filmmakers, it also creates new problems in the process. Let me explain. DJI says that the 4D is not really designed to be used on a tripod, and you also can't really turn the gimbal off to use it handheld. There's a reason why tripods haven't really changed in the last 100 years and they're still used today, because they are so important in filmmaking. So that means if you needed to get handheld type shots or on something like a slider or a tripod, you wouldn't be able to do it with this camera, which means you would have to have at least one other camera in your arsenal. The DJI 4D could not be your only camera. Which brings me to reason number 2 why the DJI 4D is going to fail, and that is glass. Many photographers and filmmakers will tell you that good lenses can make or break the images that you create. And if you think about some well-known names in the filmmaking space like Blackmagic and Red in particular, they make amazing cameras, but they aren't making lenses. Well, why is that? That's because they realize that making glass and making camera bodies are two very different things from an engineering standpoint, and of course marketing and budget and all that needs to be considered by these companies. So instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, they make it easy for you to attach Canon glass to their camera, for example, and Canon has been making amazing lenses for decades, and they know that they can harness the power of those lenses. Now DJI is going to be allowing users to put an adapter onto the 4D to adapt glass from other companies, but that adds some weight. It's an extra piece of gear you have to have in your kit, an extra expense, and there is a loss of functionality in certain ways with that adapted glass. So to combat some of those things, they are also going to be trying to launch their own glass. And I think right now there's only 3 focal lengths in their lineup. But again, if the DJI is not going to be your only camera, which it probably won't be because of the limitations I already mentioned, now you have to try to match the look and feel of the different glass from DJI versus some of the other stuff you might be shooting on, whether that's Sony, Canon, Nikon, or Fuji, whatever. Reason number 3 why the DJI 4D is going to fail is the price. It is just unbelievably expensive, to the point where it kind of doesn't make sense to me, because you can buy an excellent cinema camera and a top of the line gimbal and it's still cheaper than buying the one DJI 4D. In fact, the cheapest model I believe is just a tick under $7,000. And here are some amazing cameras you can buy for $7,000 or less. The Red Komodo, the Canon C70, the Canon C200, Sony A1, Sony FX6, Zcam E2, Blackmagic Ursa Mini Pro, Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K, and so on. These are amazing cameras that are well known. There's lots of aftermarket support for these units. They produce professional, beautiful images. $7,000 is a very large investment for a solo shooter or a very small production company. Now here's where the price really doesn't make sense to me, is larger companies that could afford a $7,000 camera, well, why would they buy it either? It doesn't make sense, because they are probably going to be shooting on a Red or maybe even an Arri or a Blackmagic. And in that case, they probably don't want to have the hassle of matching the footage from the two different cameras, even if they have the same lenses on them. And I was curious how much it would cost to rent a Steadicam, which is kind of the high-level industry standard for that smooth footage. And you can actually buy a Steadicam for $5,000. I would much rather do that and put a camera I already own onto the Steadicam. Okay, reason number 4 why the DJI 4D is going to fail, and this will probably be the most controversial point, but that is gimbal footage is just freaking overrated. I will be the first to admit I hopped on the gimbal bandwagon when they first came out. It was revolutionary. Never before have we had such an easy and inexpensive way to get smooth footage for solo shooters or small budget productions, and they are amazing. I'm glad I have one, but people were just using it 24/7, and people are starting to realize that gimbals have their time and place, but they are not the right tool all the time. And they are so easy to use, I would much rather mount my regular camera to a gimbal when I need to, rather than having to be forced into having a gimbal running 24/7. So if those 4 reasons were not enough to convince you that the DJI 4D is a gimmick and is going to fail, here is a bonus 5th reason. If you look at the direction that smooth footage is trending in as far as how to obtain it, you can see 2 really powerful things start to emerge, and that is in-body stabilization and also post-production tools. Of course, there's limitations to those and reasons why you wouldn't want to use them right now, but that technology is only going to continue to get better. And the beautiful advantage to those tools is it's one less thing you have to buy, one less thing you have to set up, and one less thing you have to learn how to use, because using a gimbal is a skill. But if your camera can just provide buttery smooth footage without any additional external tools, that's going to be a game changer for solo shooters and small productions, and maybe even someday on cinema sets. Hopefully you enjoyed that video. If you want to learn how to get your very first paying client as a filmmaker, check out this video right here.